Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Michael Sim, an expert in global studies. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been impeached today and the country is in turmoil. But a lot of people are wondering, why was he impeached? What did he do wrong? And what happens from now? So unlike what you're hearing from the news, the real story is a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to explain it to you in a very comprehensive manner so that you will understand, what is really happening in this seemingly quiet, advancing country of K-pop. Okay, number one, he was impeached because he declared a martial law. On December 3rd, he has declared a very, very short-lived martial law that was lifted after 6 hours. Now, the opposition is accusing him that he has declared the martial law unconstitutionally. Okay? But in reality, it was not unconstitutional. It was perfectly constitutional because the South Korean Constitution says the president of the country, only the president, can declare the martial law at his discretion. So that is incorrect accusation. Now, during the duration of this short-lived 6-hour martial law, Korean military troops that were carrying out the orders from president raided into two important places. One is the National Parliament in Yeouido. The other one is the Central Election Committee building in the south of Seoul. Now, looks like the Parliament raid was just a decoy to draw the attention there, but the real target was the Central Election Committee building. The military troops went in there and confiscated all the election tabulation machines and servers and the documents, right? But why did he do that? Because there has been an allegation of the election fraud from 2002. So this is a 22-year-old problem in Korea. But there were numerous attempts by the government to investigate the server and the document at the election committee, but it was impossible because Korean courts were totally dominated by left. So when the government applied and requested a search warrant, it has been rejecting it. It has been just denying it all the time. So the only means to confiscate the server and the documents is to use the force. But of course, using force is illegal in South Korea, so it can only be legitimatized, okay, or in other words, it can only be legal if it was done under the martial law. So that's what happened. That's what the President Yoon did. And another important reason why South Korean president used such an extraordinary means is to wake Korean people up who are complacent and deceived by so-called legislative dictatorship. Korean parliament is controlled by a majority, two-thirds, almost supermajority opposition. So the leading party, which is a people power party, is smaller, and the opposition party, which is a Together Democratic Party, which is a very strange name. Let's just call it Democratic Party of South Korea. They are much larger. So the Democratic Party, which is an opposition party, completely controls a legislative body. So what they have been doing is what's the most important power that the Congress has? The money power, right? It can, pass the budget. So it's been cutting off all the budgets to all the offices that were not friendly to Democratic Party. And it also used the impeachment power to impeach about 22 important government officials this year, one including the Minister of Defense and a lot of prosecutors, Inspector General, and finally the President. So they have been impeaching anyone and everyone who have different ideas or who oppose Democratic Party. So a lot of people call it legislative dictatorship. So the President Yoon had absolutely no choice when his office received zero money from Parliament. Then, there's nothing he could do but to declare the martial law. Now, Parliament members passed a resolution against the martial law that the president declared, then the president has to lift it, and so he did. So there's nothing unconstitutional about his declaration or his lifting or whatever he's been doing. Vast majority of Korean news outlets and the major newspapers have been compromised or influenced by either socialist activists disguised as journalists, or even if they're not actually socialist journalists, but they're heavily influenced by either far left liberalism or Chinese influence. So what they're reporting is not usually accurate reports, but liberal narratives, just like the United States. When the President Trump has committed no crime, all the news outlets have been reporting as if he committed some major crimes. And same thing is happening with President Yoon of South Korea. While he acted according to the Constitution, Korean liberal media and the left are pushing the narrative like as if he committed some kind of crime. He did not. Everything he did is perfectly constitutional. So I don't know if you recall 8 years ago when President Park Geun-hye, the female president, was impeached, exactly the same thing had happened at the time, and the same thing is happening now. When both presidents did not do anything wrong, they're just pushing the wrong narratives, or communist or socialist narratives. So Korea has been divided into two large groups. One is a patriotic, conservative, peace-loving citizens, which is majority, and the left, which is pushing the communist narratives, but they never use the word communist, so people get usually deceived. They, instead of using the communism or socialism, they use the word democracy. So everybody loves democracy, so they get easily deceived. Okay, so there has been a lot of allegations since 2002. Not only the allegations, but also evidences emerged a lot of places on the election fraud that's been going on since 2002. But no one has been able to do anything because, as I explained to you before, the Central Election Committee is fortified, and then nobody is allowed to investigate it, even if the president, or no matter what office, prosecutor's office or Department of Justice, no one is able to investigate the server or ballot, and they are above the law. That's why President Yoon has used such an extraordinary measure. Now, you might want to know what happens from now on the impeachment front. So he has been impeached. So unlike the United States, where the lower house, the House of Representatives, impeaches it, and then impeachment gets confirmed in the Senate, in Korea, it gets impeached in the national parliament, but it gets confirmed in the court called Constitution Court. So Korea has a Constitution Court in addition to Korean Supreme Court. I don't know why they made this additional court back in 20, 30 years ago, but they did. So the next process would be the Constitution Court would review the case, and it will either confirm or reject. Not reject, it will confirm or rule against it. So then what happens to the president from now on until the Constitution Court's decision is made? That will be sometime next year. The president, South Korean president, keeps the title as a president, but he loses all the executive authorities and powers. And then during this period, this interim period, the prime minister of South Korea becomes an acting president. Okay, the prime minister would exercise all the executive power as if he's the president, but he's not a president. He will be an acting president, keeps the prime minister title. President Yoon Suk-yeol, as I said, although he will temporarily lose his executive authorities, he will still keep the title as the president. That's what happens in Korea. Now, I hope and I think the Korean Constitution Court will probably rule against the impeachment because the court consists of 7 judges, and right now is 6 because one is vacant, and they're trying to nominate one to fill the court. Right now the four judges are conservative, 2 are liberal. So even if the nomination goes through quickly, it'll be 4 to 3. So the chances are likely that the impeachment will not be confirmed. You know, but you never know. You never know. You know, between now and then, I think what's important is the very strong resolution of the Korean people's will to keep the democracy, or if the president gets, impeachment gets confirmed, then Lee Jae-myung, who is the leader of the opposition party, he asserts a democracy and everything, but he's in fact a socialist, and he may be a communist, and he's heavily influenced by North Korea and Chinese. Okay, but a lot of people, a lot of Koreans, especially young Koreans, don't think that way. They think he's a great leader and he should be the president. So Korea is, obviously divided into, 2 groups that wants to keep the democracy, who are conservatives. Lee Jae-myung and the young Korean people who want to destroy the democracy and go to either socialist or communist country in the future. But they don't think that's what they're doing. They think Lee Jae-myung represents the democracy, and a lot of young people who support Lee Jae-myung thinks that they are supporting the democracy. So this is the problem, But what can I say? Hopefully they will have a good, happy ending. But I'll come back to you to explain what's going on in South Korea as it develops. Okay? Thanks. Bye now.